Welcome back to the deep dive. We're digging into some source material today that, honestly, it presents a bit of a puzzle, doesn't it?
It really does.
This idea that one single compliment delivered the right way can change everything for someone.
Yeah, well, tons of advice, even really good advice, often just falls flat.
Exactly. Why does that happen?
Well, that's what we're diving into. It's not just about praise being nice. It's the psychology, isn't it? The mechanics of recognition, of trust.
And how words can either kill potential, like freezing a seed.
Or be the very thing that makes it, sprout, makes it grow.
The sources really nail this feeling of criticism making people coil up. You see it happen.
Oh, instantly. Defenses go straight up. But genuine recognition, it's like permission.
Permission to become that better version of yourself they seem to see.
Right. But the problem is, so often we default to judgment, don't we? We point out the flaw. We kind of push people into a corner.
Instead of finding ways to, as the sources say, open the way for them to correct themselves.
Which criticism just doesn't do. It closes doors. It doesn't open them.
Okay, let's look at the evidence, because these stories are quite powerful. The dancing man anecdote, for starters.
Yes. Classic example.
This guy, he feels like he has to learn to dance, right? But he's not. Well, he's not good at it.
Not naturally gifted, no. And his first teacher, just constant criticism, pointing out every mistake.
So predictably, he quits, feels clumsy, defeated.
Totally understandable. But then he tries again. New teacher.
And this teacher does something radically different.
Completely. Doesn't focus on the mistakes. Instead, she says just one thing.
You have innate rhythm.
Boom. And from that exact moment, everything changes for him. He goes from quitting to actually excelling.
Okay, but here's the question. The pushback you mentioned earlier, was she just lying? I mean, he was clumsy. Is it just flattery? That's the crucial distinction, isn't it? And the sources are clear. No, it wasn't a lie about his current observable actions. So what was it then?
She was choosing to see the potential, the seed of rhythm within the clumsiness. Flattery is about the now, about manipulation maybe.
Right.
But this kind of trust, this recognition, it's about affirming a future identity. It's looking through eyes of trust.
And that's what makes the defenses drop, allows the mind to open up.
Precisely. Because you're not being judged for the mistake. You're being invited into your potential.
Mm-hmm.
Belief becomes the performance enhancer. You establish the identity first.
Wow. Okay, and then there's the story of David. That takes it even further.
Much further. This was a boy labeled, and it's a devastating label, essentially brain damaged.
Think about the weight of that. How institutions, schools, everyone would treat him based on that label. Low expectations baked in.
Absolutely. The path is almost set by the diagnosis.
Yeah.
But his parents, they refused it.
They made a conscious choice.
A very conscious choice. Not to focus on the judgment, the label, but to actively sow belief in him, to treat him as capable.
And the outcome.
He became an honors student. It sounds almost miraculous, but it shows what happens when trust is the primary input.
The clumsy becomes skillful, the weak becomes strong.
Yeah.
Because the focus shifts.
From deficit to destiny, it really is that profound.
So these stories show that it works, but why? What's the actual mechanism? What are these eyes of trust really doing psychologically?
Well, fundamentally, it taps into our deepest human needs. Validation, visibility, recognition.
We all want to be seen, valued.
Exactly. The mind is constantly scanning for proof of that, proof that we're trusted. And when that confirmation comes, sincerely, it's like flicking a switch. A light goes on inside.
And psychology has a name for this, right? This idea that expectations shape outcomes. The sources call it Pygmalion.
The Pygmalion effect, yes. It's well documented. High expectations genuinely lead to better performance.
So if you truly believe someone can be good at something,
They often rise to meet that belief.
Yeah.
Your expectation acts like a psychological pull, urging them upwards.
but there has to be a flip side. If belief lifts people up.
There's definitely a flip side, sometimes called the golem effect. Negative labels, low expectations. They also shape reality.
So telling someone, or even just thinking of them as, say, useless or incompetent.
You're not just being mean. You might actually be, metaphorically speaking, locking the door on their growth. You put them in a box defined by that label.
And the mind kind of stays in the box it's assigned.
It often does. Which leads to that philosophical idea in the sources. The universe operates according to the law of reflection.
Meaning, we become what's reflected back at us.
In a very real psychological sense, yes. If you reflect potential, people start to embody that potential. if you reflect limitations.
They embody the limitation. Wow, that puts a lot of responsibility on how we see others.
It's huge.
Hmm.
Which brings us to the practical side. Okay, we know the why. But how do we use this? How does a wise person apply this, especially when, mistakes do happen and need addressing?
Right, you can't just ignore errors. How do you correct someone without triggering that shutdown, that defensiveness?
It comes down to the fundamental difference between criticism and trust-based feedback. Criticism inherently says you are wrong.
Which immediately builds that defensive wall we talked about.
Exactly. They stop listening, start defending. Trust or recognition, even when addressing an error, starts from a different place. It essentially says, I believe you're capable of getting this right.
So it opens the door instead of slamming it shut.
Precisely. It invites them onto a path of improvement, rather than judging their current position on the path.
So the wise person, they avoid the shouts, the force, they guide, they open the way for self-correction.
Yes. It's finesse. It's about how you frame the correction.
Okay, give me an example. Like, in a work context, a manager and an employee. The employee turns in a bad report. Okay, so criticism would be, this report is sloppy, it's unprofessional, fix it. Wall goes up, right? Defensiveness, resentment, maybe. But a trust-based approach might sound like, okay, I know the high-quality work you're capable of delivering. This current draft doesn't quite reflect that standard yet. Let's look together at how we can structure this so it really shows your strengths.
Okay. You affirm the identity, I know you're capable, before addressing the specific issue.
Exactly. You anchor them in their potential first. Then you collaborate on bridging the gap. You're asking them to live up to the capable person you already see them as.
That feels entirely different. It's empowering, not demeaning.
It is. It fosters internal motivation for change, not just external compliance driven by fear or criticism. They feel safe enough to see the mistake and actually want to fix it.
And this doesn't just apply to how we treat others, does it? The sources hint we need this for ourselves, too. Oh, absolutely. Think about how harsh our own inner critic can be. We constantly replay mistakes, label ourselves based on failure.
We reflect failure back at ourselves.
We do. And if that law of reflection holds, we need to learn to open that path for our own growth, to offer ourselves that same non-judgmental recognition.
So acknowledge the mistake, the temporary action, but don't let it define the identity.
Yes. Focus on who you can become, the potential you hold, not just the error you made. That's applying Pygmalion to yourself. Choose the reflection.
It really reframes kindness, doesn't it? It's not just being nice. It's a strategic tool for unlocking potential.
It really is. And thinking back, that one well-placed compliment, that moment of genuine trust, it can literally start a new life, pull someone back from the brink.
Imagine if we all got better at speaking those words of trust, at sowing light instead of judgment.
The amount of fear, of inferiority complex in the world, we'd have to decrease, wouldn't it?
So the call to action seems pretty clear.
Yeah. Learn to receive it, sure. But maybe more importantly, learn to be the person who gives that sincere recognition, that trust, right when it's needed most.
Because it really can change a whole destiny. One word.
One word of genuine belief.
Which leads us to that fantastic quote the sources mentioned from Galileo. It sums it all up, really.
You cannot teach a person anything. You can only help them discover what is already within them.
It's perfect. It's not about forcing, it's about revealing. So, the final thought for you listening, aim to be a light lighter, not just an examiner finding faults. Use praise to unlock potential, not just to flatter.
Because every word really is a seed. You're planting it in someone else's consciousness.
Choose those seeds wisely.